Welcome back. You're listening to Real Talk with Brian and Dan on 1150 KKNW.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Dan. Our first guest today is Gloria Chien of VIS Designs. Gloria Chien has a bachelor's degree in architecture from Washington State University. She practiced architectural design for 10 years prior to her 14 years of interior architecture and interior design. Her practice is mainly in commercial tenant improvements and occasionally home remodeling. With 24 years of experience, she's passionate about creating outstanding designs for office spaces, restaurants, retail stores, medical clinics, and probably more. Her services include branding, space planning, finish and furniture selection, lighting design, permit documentation, and permitting. The goal of her company, VIS Designs, is to enhance the success of her client's business. Gloria, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, listen, we like to start out before jumping right into business. We always like to start out to bring our theme in, which is, home is usually linked to some of our most fond memories. So we'd love for you to share with our listeners and those watching on Facebook today a fond memory of the home that you grew up in.
Well, I'd love to. I grew up in Taiwan. So Taipei is the capital of Taiwan. It's very similar to New York City. The density and then almost everyone live in a condominium, like high-rise buildings. So downstairs are retails and shops and movie theaters, and then maybe third or fourth floor up are the residential homes. And we just love it. It's just very convenient. Most of the people take transportation, public transportation. So, and the real estate market over there is pretty hot, and the price, the house prices are very similar to Seattle. So it's very competitive.
Gloria, what does your design process look like?
Well, when I meet the client for the first time, I will go to the site and see their space. Then I will set up like 2 or 3 design meetings. So I will spend some time in my office and doing design. And then I'll show them either on the video conferencing for this pandemic time, or I will meet them or email them my design. So it can be a floor plan or elevation. And then we talk back and forth for 2 or 3 times. And then when everything is settled, then I will start to produce construction drawings or permit drawings. Then I submit the drawings to the city for permits. And what I expect from the clients is they tell me what their visions are, their wants and needs, and their time frame, and also the budget for the construction. So then I will design from there.
So it sounds like you handle the soup to nuts of any tenant improvement, right? So everything beginning. How complex is the permit process, and how aware are you of, say, the permit process in Issaquah versus Bellevue versus Newcastle versus Sammamish?
Yeah, the permit process is really, there's a basic, so the city will, when they take your drawings, they'll spend like maybe 4 to 6 weeks to review. Right now, if the staff work from home, it can take a little longer. And then that's for the second review, and then they will either give you the permit if there's nothing need to change or modify, or they will give you city comments. For every city comments, the architect will need to respond. They'll need to change, and then submit again, and they will take them 2 to 4 weeks to respond again. So that's how complex. And then in terms of the cities, every city is different. Seattle, Bellevue, Issaquah. My experience is Seattle and Bellevue, they're actually not so difficult. Seattle can take longer time because more people live in Seattle and work in Seattle. And the smaller city and sometimes can get very difficult. Yeah, for example, Issaquah is very difficult. So yeah.
And we mean that in the nicest way.
What are key factors for the success of a commercial project?
Actually, there are, so first of all, it's the location.
Okay.
Which city that relates to the city
Yeah.
jurisdiction, which city your space is in. Issaquah, it might take a little longer time. Seattle, Bellevue, each city has a different way to deal with them. Depends on the architect's or the designer's experience. And the second one is the time. How much time do you have from now to your grand opening date? And I highly recommend start as early as possible, because the time can be 2 to 3 times more than what you think. And then the building code knowledge, the design professionals, building code knowledge really is a big point, a big factor. If they know the building code, they can discuss with the jurisdiction more efficiently. And the last one is the heart of the person, the designer or the architect. If this architect is really the advocate of his or her clients, and then that will make a huge difference on your time frame, and also the things that you need to provide for your space according to the code requirements.
So that's a really cool factor. I didn't really think about that, but actually owning the project and being that strong advocate, that's super important. And when I think about what you're talking about with design with regards to a workspace or a restaurant or something like that, a lot of times those are reflections of the company and the passion that the company has. So that's really cool that you put that in there. So as we're talking important factors when it comes to leasing a commercial space, so things are changing right now, right? I mean, there's people working from home, working in different places, yet there's still going to be people that need a space. So what are some of the important factors that people should consider?
Yeah, the first one, that's most common one, is the leasing terms. You know, are they triple net or not? That's very important. So the broker will explain to you. And the second one is the landlord standards. For example, if they allow you to select your own carpet or to select your own paint colors, some landlords don't. It's always white walls, always green carpet, no matter if you like it or not. And then the third one is the location. Again, that's which city. The city and the jurisdiction is a big factor. Some cities, it can take you 7 months to get a permit. Some city only over the counter. The same project. So it really depends. And then
it sounds like you help people with that, with kind of deciding not all those criteria. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. I have experience with one project that the other architect that they interviewed said that your space is in Seattle, it takes 7 months. And when I came in, I said, I don't know, maybe not necessary. Let me take a look at the plans and talk to the city. And it came up just over the counter. So I saved the tenant 7 months. They can open the business earlier. And then the last two factor is the space planning and the jurisdiction. So the space planning is when you have 2 or 3 locations in mind, you really need a designer or architect to come up with the space layout for you, because that's really code related, the building code related. You might think I want the office to be here and then break room to be there. Yes, you can, and then but maybe we need to twist a little bit according to the building code requirements. Yeah.
So I understand it's the time frame is largely dependent on the jurisdiction, but in terms of you doing your part of the project, what kind of time frame does it take for you to do your magic?
Okay. Yeah. So for me, if the space tenant improvements usually is 2,000 square feet to say 4,000 square feet, and then it takes me at least 2 months. If it's a small size, and maybe 6 weeks, so say 2 months for design. And then another probably 2 months to 3 months for the city review or comments, so 2 to 3 months, and then another probably 2 months for the construction. So you're talking about at least 6 months, 6 to 7 or 8 months. So if you're thinking about leasing the space in September, you really need to start right now.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, okay. And that's typical, is you're saying 7 to 8 months is pretty typical?
6 to 8 months.
Oh, 6, I'm sorry. 6 to 8 months is typical.
6 to 8 months, pretty typical.
So what about budget? How do you ensure that the budget, that what your client has allocated for tenant improvements, and that you stay within that budget?
Well, that's right here in your experience and your heart. So when I select the materials or do design, I have the client's budget in mind right in the beginning. So I've seen some other professionals or some other people's project is towards the end is, oops, we are over the budget, $20,000. Sorry, we need to cut here, cut this. You can have this, you can't have that. I really don't like that. So right in the beginning of my design, I put that in mind, and then I select the materials and do the space planning for them in order to save time and save the money for my clients. The material you choose still can be high quality and achieve the same result. It's just a different manufacturer, and then sometimes it can become even cooler, much better than what you originally think.
What advice do you have for a customer to choose the best architect or designer for their commercial project?
Yeah, first of all, the experience of the architect or designer. If you have a commercial project, I highly recommend they are experienced in commercial projects more than residential projects. And also they have experience in your type of business. For example, offices or clinics or retail or restaurants. And then the second one is the skill set. Does this person, architect or interior designer, have experience and knowledge and skills in both architecture and the interior design? Because for tenant improvement projects, these two really go together. You cannot have just experience in interior design or architecture. You really need both, because you're dealing with not just the aesthetic part, the nice looking, but also the mechanical, electrical, and the structure, walls, those things. Yeah. And then their reputation and their personality. If they are detail oriented, your project most likely will be very successful.
Gloria, thank you. The picture behind you, what is that? What project is that you're working on?
This one?
Yes.
This is an apartment building, new construction, 7-story high. My role is for all the interior, including the lobby, the amenity room, fitness, and all the units. This one down here is the dentist's office, similar to dentist's office, and plus a lab at the back. This is their lobby area.
What project are you most proud of?
Most proud of? There's a lot. Currently, I have a project, brand new office building in Issaquah. So it's a 4-story high office building under construction, scheduled to finish in this summer, August. And then that's my most proud project, and I team up with another architect. And so you're welcome to visit after the summer.
That's Issaquah Gateway?
No, it's a Popular Way office building.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Let's see, what else we got? All right, so should I hire one company to do architectural permitting and another one to do interior design, or a company that can do both?
Well, if it's possible, I highly recommend you hire a company that can do both, because that will save the client's money and the budget. Because when you hire two, you need to pay this person this amount and pay that person that amount. But when you hire just one firm and that can do both, you actually, their design fee wouldn't be as much as when you hire two companies.
So how do our listeners or those watching get a hold of you today?
Well, they can go to my website at www.vis-designs, which is plural.com, or they can call me at 206-335-4199, or they can email me, Glorias @vis-designs.com.
Awesome. Gloria, thank you so much for coming on today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Gloria.
All right. After the break, we're going to be visiting with Johnson Marshall, who'll be sharing with us the ins and outs of home insurance. Come right back after this short commercial break.